Well, authoritarian regimes love to be laughed at, as we always say.
They sure do. They've got a great sense of humor, don't they?
It's killer.
It is a killer.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, it makes me feel good that, even my sense of humor is marginally better than authoritarian regime sense of humor.
I don't know. Yours is also pretty killer.
Yeah.
The more you make them miserable rather than laughing, the more you're, I think, accomplishing the mission.
I sometimes just picture Xi Jinping sitting alone in Zhongnanhai, looking at, the photoshops of him as Winnie the Pooh and seething.
Right.
That's what you do in your spare time?
Yes.
You picture that?
Yeah.
I picture what I'm going to build in Minecraft.
Yeah. Well, you could build Zhongnanhai in Minecraft, and
I
then,
could.
yeah.
There you go.
But I think some really positive takeaways from this this podcast is that, there are things individual Americans can do. They can talk to their pensions. They can change how they invest. And I know not everyone watching is doing that because our generation has no money. Thanks to a lot of these
not a lot of
global
investments.
issues.
I mean, what do you think Dogecoin's exposure is to China?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, hey, its biggest backer, Elon Musk, Tesla is incredibly dependent on China.
Yeah. Elon Musk seems very smart about a lot of things, but the China thing.
And this is a good example of how everything folds up on each other. High gas prices. Oh, everyone's like, oh, okay, we got to buy a Tesla. Well, Tesla feeds into China, and we screw ourselves at every corner. Not in the fun way.
Well, and as you know, the whole Green New Deal ties into China. And the idea that we're going to choke off fossil fuels to the benefit of the Chinese is just one of those other ways in which this engagement thing is not going to work out for us.
Well, when you have the vast majority of solar panels and wind turbines being manufactured in China, which, by the way, is a result of largely U.S. technology being knocked off, especially the wind turbines. So instead of
stolen, really.
Stolen. Well, yeah. So instead of extracting and refining gas and oil from the United States, we're basically now, this idea is to get the way to produce energy from China and pay for it to bring it here. But that stuff, typically doesn't have a particularly long lifespan, and also is dependent on the supply chain issues, which we're seeing major problems with, is dependent on rare earths, which involves slave labor, et cetera.
The solar panels, right? A lot of the ingredients to make solar panels are produced in areas where there is Uyghur slave labor.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Frank, thank you again for joining us today and talking about these things. Why don't you tell us again, the different websites where people can watch your show and, the Committee on Present Danger, where can they go to see
and the
those
Mad
things?
as Hell campaign.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, there's a number of them. I won't probably pass them all along. The key one, I think, is presentdangerchina.org, our committee's website. The Mad as Hell campaign has its own, but it can be found there as well. I would argue that if you would take a look as well at our shows, including one featuring you all at securingamerica.tv, is a further resource that I hope your audience will take advantage of too.
Great. Well, thank you for joining us again today. This was a real pleasure, and you're very kind. Thank you.
Well, thanks for all you do, and I look forward to further interactions with you on both your platform and mine.
Sounds good.
God bless you all.
I think the biggest takeaway from this podcast is really that there are things individual Americans can do. And I think, you were mentioning that there's a feeling of helplessness, like, oh, it's so big. What can I do?
Yeah. I mean, I think on a systemic level, there are things that the U.S. government has to do, right? Like if the SEC, rules that these Chinese companies have to delist, that is going to be major, because otherwise it's not like you'd get the Chinese companies unless from China they made them delist. You know what I mean? Like this has to be a government level thing. But on an individual level, there are things that you can do.
Well, I mean, we have a representative government, so we can pressure our government to do things. Like in 2020, there was the defund the police movement, which got widespread support and protests across the country. And like people protesting itself doesn't do anything, except what it actually did is it pressured police departments or a lot of, in particular, cities and counties to reevaluate how and whether they wanted to fund police departments. And I'm not saying, it's whether you agree or not with the defund the police movement. I think you have to recognize that it had tremendous people power.
I don't know if that's the best example to give, since now a lot of places are refunding the police.
Yes, but my point is that
the people stood up and said something and the government ignored them.
Yes.
That too can happen with China. Thank you for your analysis, Matt Ganeza.
Wow, I laughed so much I hiccuped. Okay. Well.
All right. So on that message of hope.
Isn't there a message of hope? Chris,
there was until you said we're a representative government and the government won't listen to our protests.
Well,
technically, you said that.
Well, they get it. Yeah, Shelley, you were trying to.
I was trying to save it
crash.
Somehow.
Save it, please.
My grandma had a jacket like that.
Thanks. I'm sure your grandma was a woman of great taste.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's.
You totally wrecked it, Chris.
This plane has been totally derailed.
Oh no!
So I'm going to hiccup again.